Hey everybody, happy Saturday. If you don't know who I am, my name is Jillian McMullen, and I'm going to talk about probiotics today and some interesting ways to use them if you have allergies, if you have digestive issues. A lot of you probably know about probiotics for that. But also for those of you who want to use them for immune system problems, and most interestingly, ADHD. So if you are a mom, or maybe you have children who have problems with attention deficit, and you're looking for natural options, probiotics, interestingly enough, the research is offering some really cool evidence. I'm not going to go through the whole thing because I have a blog post that I'm going to be publishing tomorrow, and giving you more in-depth details about it. But it's really, really cool stuff that I found, and I wanted to just share a little bit of what I found today, and also give you some food sources where you can, because you don't necessarily have to take supplements, but there certainly supplements is an option. So first I'm going to talk about the digestive, because a lot of us know about digestion, and so I think a lot of us will start using probiotics for that reason, because you take antibiotics, your doctor will probably tell you to take probiotics, because a lot of times we're going to get problems with our digestive system when we start taking antibiotics, and the probiotics certainly can help with that. But what I did find is that, of course, they're very effective. That's not a secret. But they are not really effective for things like pancreatitis or if you have Crohn's disease. Now, they are helpful for even babies and infants and children. So if you have even a baby, you could consider the use of probiotics. And I'll get to that in a little bit, because you're probably thinking, well, how am I going to give a baby a probiotic supplement? They support our immune health. So you might be thinking, how would my stomach or my intestines have anything to do with my immune system, or whether or not I catch the next cold? And the thing that you have to remember is that our immune system, a large part of it is in our digestive tract. So our digestive tract is made up of healthy bacteria, and what we eat can affect it. Our genetics can even, of course, affect it. But if we want the healthy bacteria to be to be enhanced, or maybe something's throwing it out of balance, probiotics can certainly help that. And so I cite some studies. If you're somebody that really likes to dive into the research, you'll find that in my blog post. But basically, the digestive system is, I'm looking at my notes, so that's why I'm not looking at the camera, but it is of course important for digestion and absorption of nutrients, but it does protect us against harmful antigens, which is basically toxins, bacteria, virus, all those things that our bodies come into contact with on a regular basis. That's the digestive system is a line of defense for it. And the probiotics is going to help treat things that are going to come into contact, like food allergies. A lot of people struggle with inflammatory bowel disease, and probiotics the research is showing that, yeah, that it does absolutely help. The next one is allergies. And this research really showed me that, you know, my kids and probably a lot of you fellow moms, and maybe even yourself, you're dealing with allergies all the time, and it's frustrating. My two little boys, they're allergic to pets. They're allergic to the pollen outside. And I noticed that even if they get really worked up and they're crying or they're in trouble, their allergies start acting up. It's a weird phenomenon, but if they cry, I know that I'm going to have to do something about their allergies, because they'll get all sneezy and snotty, and it's not just from crying, but it's literally their allergies will start attacking them. And the probiotics, after there's actually lots and lots of studies that are backing this up, that particularly, I'm trying to find if there's a strain, because there's a lot of different strains of probiotics, so you have to understand. You can't just decide to take one. Well, I'm eating yogurt every day, so why do I still have allergies? The yogurt you're eating might not be the right strain of probiotic. And it's LCTBS. I'm sure that stands for something. Rhabdomyosis. So you can look at that on my blog post tomorrow. When infants were given that strain for the first 2 years of their life, they actually did have a significant reduction in things like eczema. Also, we're talking about allergic rhinitis, allergic dermatitis. So things that a fellow dietitian friend of mine, her name's Heather, she brought to my attention that one thing that she saw was that, or she had read that, and I read this as well, is that babies, there's a difference if they're vaginally born versus cesarean born. There is a difference of whether or not they're susceptible to allergies. But it also can be, if they were breastfed, if they were formula fed, how long they were breastfed, when they were introduced to food, and then their environment and their genetics. So there's a lot of things that can play a role in this. And probiotics can help regardless. So there's a lot of factors, but even the research, once they're looking at these kids, and when they're looking at the factors as well, probiotics can actually help reduce some of those things that are going against the kids. So really cool. The thing that is really, I think, the best part about probiotics is that even if you do try them and you don't really see a big difference, they're most likely not going to cause any problems. They're perfectly safe for kids, perfectly safe for adults. Unless you have any real immune system issues, definitely ask your doctor. And I'm talking about you just got an organ transplant, you have HIV, you're undergoing chemotherapy. Those are reasons why you might want to be cautious about taking probiotics. But otherwise, there's really not any problems with just trying it to see if you see a difference. The last thing that was really the most interesting to me was that this particular study, and there was more than one, but this one I'll just mention, was that in a study of, I think it was 75 kids, no, it was only 20 for this one, 20 children aged 7 to 12, they did a supplementation. It was probiotics, but it was also B vitamins, minerals, phytonutrients, some other things like essential fatty acids. Supplementing them with that versus Ritalin after just 4 weeks, those alternative therapies in conjunction were just as effective as the Ritalin. And we're talking about things like their level of impulsiveness, their focus, how much they fidgeted, their auditory focus, all of those things that affect kids with ADHD. Giving them these supplements with just vitamins, minerals, probiotics was just as effective as giving them the medication. And it was only 4-week turnaround. So very, very cool information. Certainly, I think why it's probably we don't hear about it a lot is because it was only done on 20 kids. But I thought that was pretty neat because I know a lot of moms with kids who have ADHD are looking for alternative because they usually don't want to jump to putting something on giving their children medication unless it's absolutely necessary, and often it is absolutely necessary for them to thrive in school. But this was a very, very neat study with really cool results. So the last thing that I will mention is if you're not jumping on the supplement bandwagon, the thing about supplements is you usually see like the billions of cells in the supplements, And you don't need that many live cells. You don't need billions and billions of cells. The problem is that manufacturers have to put that many in there because most of them are not going to survive your stomach acid. They get broken down, and we don't need them in the stomach. We need them in your small intestine. So in order for them to hopefully get to your small intestine, they have to load you up so that you get some in your small intestine to do its job. And this is why I think some people see benefits and others don't, because I think some people most of it gets killed in their stomach before they actually can see the benefits of the live active cultures in their small intestine. There is a brand that I use that you can certainly reach out to me and get more information on, that actually has a protective coating on it where it's not going to get broken down in the stomach, and you will be much more likely to get the benefits because the cells are gonna survive to get to where they need to go. But if you want to try out the food, or if you're using a supplement that you like already, then go ahead, and I would love to hear your experiences. But kefir, a lot of us have heard about kefir. Kombucha, that's fermented black tea. A lot of people are using, that one's kind of more mainstream. We're hearing a lot about that. Of course, there's yogurt. I recommend Greek just because it has more protein, but any kind of Greek or any kind of yogurt. Sauerkraut, it's just fermented cabbage. Apple cider vinegar, think like Bragg's. You have to see the little floaty things in it to get the benefits. If it's just like your cheapo brand of apple cider vinegar, it's not going to be fermented. So you need the kind with the floaty stuff in it. That's the best way I can describe it. Tempeh is fermented soybean, so I'm not talking about tofu, I'm talking about a different kind. Fermented pickles, so think like pickles that have been fermented in salt and water, not vinegar, and they're not pasteurized. So if they're shelf-stable, they're probably not fermented. And sourdough bread, there's some other ones, but you can read my blog post tomorrow. But sourdough bread is also a fermented product. It has that sour taste because of the yeast has been fermented, and it's got a lot more than your average bread, which actually makes it easier to digest. So yes, I'm telling you to eat bread, but there's actually a lot of other options that you can do for probiotics. But if you needed an excuse to eat bread, sourdough it is for your probiotics. So very cool stuff. So this was kind of a fun blog post for me to do. Interesting, fun information for me to look up. So hopefully you found that information cool, and reach out to me if you want to know more about probiotics or any kind of brands that I might recommend. And if you are not on my email list, then reach out to me so that you don't miss this blog post and future ones. I'm always doing stuff on what you guys are interested in and what you want to hear more about, and doing the research for you. So have a great weekend, guys, and I will talk to you next time.